Johnson. And tonight, we're doing it from the phone. Because that's the way we do when we live out in the boondocks. We redneck it up sometimes. Sometimes you got to go by your phone. That's what we're here for. What's going on with you guys? Who's here so far? Anybody in the chat yet? Hello, hello, hello. My glasses are dirty. I can't see a thing. Better. All right. Spec Lobby's back first up. You get the gold star for being first in chat. Spec Lobby, how you doing? Spec Lobby says hello. Amy Elizabeth says hello, hello. Ruben Same says hello, mister. Hello, Ruben. Ruben Same. Isn't there a song about you? Is this Bible study? No, it's Wednesday. It's a me study. Amy says, hi, Jake. Hi, how are you? Amanda says, Spec, here's your gold star. You get the one for being first in chat. Congratulations. Amanda says, hi, Amy. I do have, however, a nice hot cup of coffee with me and a tripod so that my phone will sit where it's supposed to. I'm not looking down at it. You're not looking at my nose. That's a plus. Amanda says, hi, newcomers. And Spec Lobby says, thank you. Debbie says, howdy, all. Hey, Debbie, how are you, sweetheart? Welcome to the show. It's a good cup of coffee. Best band of all time, Jake Johnson Band. Next. Kevin, what's up, my brother? Nice to see you. I figured I'd go old school tonight. I don't get to wear this shirt on the podcast because of the green screen. Since we're not using it, I can wear my bowling shirt. Love it. Amanda says, hey, Debbie. And Kevin says, hello, everyone. Second best band of all time, Wilder Creek. Next. And then it'd probably be the Eagles or something like that. ACD. Come on. Guns N' Roses. Wilder Creek is also a band. Kevin says, hello. And Amy says, like, shared, and invited some friends. Great. Amanda says, Metallica's pretty good, too. Pretty good. Kevin says, hello, Amy. Bill Bennett says, hello, Untethered Live family. I hope all is well. Jake, did your computer take a shit? Where's the green screen? It's right here. And no, my computer's fine. My internet took the shit. And now we haven't had an internet in over 24 hours now. Before it was intermittent. It would drop. But we'd get an hour or so of internet, but then it'd go out for an hour or so. Now it's just out. Still going to be the 12th before we can come check it out, though, to see what the problem is. Like, subscribe, share, support, join the Super Chat if you like. Or better yet, hit that Cash App, $sign Jakejohnsonband. I appreciate you. Kevin says, hello, Bill. Amanda says, hi, Bill. Amy says, I was watching a video before you came on about Armageddon. Wait a minute. No. Agro-terrorism. That's a different thing. Fungus. Scary stuff. Agro-terrorism with fungus. Yeah. I know all about it. I live in that world. Mold and stuff like that. So tell us about the video. Kevin says, hey, Bill. Amanda says, hi, Bill. Ruben says, Spec Lobby bullied me in elementary school. Well, bully him back. What are you doing whining to me about it? Be a man. Stand up behind yourself. Debbie says, Eagles, REO Speedwagon in Alabama. All good bands. Tyler Britton says, Britman says hi. Hello, Tyler. Welcome to the show, newcomers. Hit that subscribe button. Do me a favor. Appreciate that. Amy says, hi, Kevin, Debbie, Amanda, Bill, and everyone else. agricultural terrorism. Right on. He says, no, I didn't, Ruben. No, I didn't, Ruben. I know you are, but what am I? And he says, press that thumbs up, everybody. It's behind the 3 dots or whatever. Debbie says, Best of Bread, my favorite album. Right on. I don't know if I have a favorite album. I've been playing music for like 45 years. I just hate all music equally. I don't know if I have a favorite one. Ruben says, yes, Spec, I remember. OMG, it's the bull, says, hey, girl, do I look like a girl to you? Do I need to smack the pearl off your teeth, boy? Don't let my long hair and beauty fool you. I'm twice the woman you'll ever be. Don't you ever forget it. Amy says, they were saying that the Chinese are trying to devastate our food supply with fungus. Well, they say a lot of things, and some of them are right. But, come to think of it, I ate a piece of chocolate today that had white all over it. I bet it was the Chinese ruining my Twix. Ruben says, you're taller than me. Yeah, by a lot. Even if I'm not taller than you, I'm taller than you. Kevin says, so many great bands. Yeah, there's too many to pick a good one, though. Spec Lobby says, get out, Ruben. We don't need you here. All right, listen. I'll handle the getting out part. Y'all just behave and be nice. Enjoy a conversation. Be part of something. Or, don't. It's up to you. Being new only affords you a certain amount of privilege. And it gets tiring. New doesn't help anymore. Amy says, yes, Debbie, definitely Alabama. Amy says, Metallica is my all-time favorite. I like old Metallica. New Metallica kind of sucks a little, to be honest. I don't know why. They just kind of lost it. Respect says, what do you think of jazz? I study jazz. I'm a musician, so I study all types of music. Even the stuff I don't like. Jazz is pretty sweet, though. I like blues better, but jazz has its place. And to fundamentally understand jazz will help you with improvising and things like that. Where's Aaron? Probably working. I haven't seen Aaron in a couple of days. I hope he's doing all right. I don't think he was here last night, was he? Patty Donahue. What's up, Patty? Nice to see you, sweetheart. It was on Newsmax, the agricultural terror thing. It wouldn't surprise me. We've been poking China for a while now. By we, I mean the American government. Hasn't always been ran by our side of things, but I'm hoping that Trump can put a little charm into that relationship, because you really don't want China to be mad at you. Amy says, hey, Patty. And Debbie says, the best of bread is my favorite cause. It is the only one that I can always listen to and like every song. No pushing the skip button in the car. Right on. It says, phone issues. Phone issues. Well, that's not good. At least you don't have throat issues. It's all coming up now, but it's very aggravating. Amy says, don't be mean to host. His wife will boot you in half a second. Yeah, I can take it, though. It's all right. Amanda says, hey, Patty. Looks like they already got booted. Truckle, welcome to the show. All right, there, brother. It's a shout out from Truckee. Sending warm vibes. Never cold and murky. Muggy. I hope you're still smiling, and I hope you're doing okay. Just sending a little love from over in the UK. Nice alliteration, Truckee. Good to see you. Amy says, tag team Amanda. DJ John, what's up, brother? Nice to see you. DJ says, hello, everyone. Have respect for everyone, or ship out. Right on. Amanda says, hey, DJ. Kevin says, hello, DJ. Amy says, hi, DJ John. I hope you're feeling better. And Amanda says, yes, Amy. As I was reading your boot comment, I was doing it. Kevin says, is there a topic tonight, or are we just winging it? Well, it's Wednesday, so we're just winging it. Whatever you want to talk about. It's all right with me. Debbie says, last night was Tuesday. Nobody was here. I meant Monday. Last podcast. I do so many shows a week that they all kind of run together. It's kind of hard to keep them separate in my head. And if I have a day off, I'm just sleeping. So I don't even notice that day go by most of the time. I'm usually in a state of, oh, it's Wednesday again. Or I can't wait for Thursday to get here. One of those. Amy says, we're winging it, Kevin, like chicken wings. Saucy. Amanda says, just whatever, Kevin. I should have wore a solid colored shirt so I could read the chat. I have to focus on it. DJ John says, thank you, Amy. Headache again, but I'm okay. We'll take you some aspirin. I'll join you. I'll take some goodies. I'll take this goodies in honor of your headache. Lovely. That's just for you, DJ. Maybe that'll make you feel better. It's going to make me feel better, I'm sure. Patty says, I hope everybody's doing well. Fat and sassy, Patty, how you doing? I can't complain about nothing. I'm as happy as a pig in slop. Amy says, he called you a nasty name, Jake. Accused you of something that would result in a wood chipper. Well, listen, I've been accused of some things before. That's all right. The thing about it, young man, is that the things that I'm actually capable of or possibly guilty of would make you wet your bed at night if you knew about it and knew who you were picking on. But since you want to throw unknowledgeable insults in my direction, enjoy yourself. But just remember, I have a record of everybody that visits my show. Brutus says, what's up, Chef? Brutus. What a name. Queef Cake. Is that a funny sound I hear all of a sudden? I'm not a referee, and this is blue and green and white and red. Referees are just black and white. This is a bowling shirt. You could say, what's up, bowling league? That would be more appropriate. Kevin says, hello, Patty. Amy says, LOL, his shirt does look like a referee. It doesn't. It's got stripes like a referee shirt, but they're different colors. See? And different directions. But if you want to see something that looks like this shirt, watch the show 2.5 Men. This is a bowler shirt made popular by Charlie Sheen, which was popular before he wore them, but you know how popularity goes. It's old school. I thought I'd wear it. I don't get to wear it normally because the green screen is on and you'll see right through all these stripes. Patty says, hey, Mr. Kevin. Amy says, hump day, camel, camel. Nice. Kevin says, my boss put an extra $250 in my check this week. All right. His way of saying thank you for hard work. That's fantastic, Kevin. I love it when a boss does things like that. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Good job. You deserve it, probably. I don't know your work ethic, so I can't say that you deserve it for sure. But I'd say if he gave it to you, you probably deserve it. Amanda says it depends on what we're doing and on who's the ref. It depends on what we're doing as to who the ref is. Yep. Always the chief, very rarely the ref. And I have a flyaway, I apologize. I don't have any gel to put my hair down, so I look professional. I'm normally wearing headphones so you don't get to see my Bozo the Clown flyaways, but congratulations, you get to see behind the curtains. Amanda says, nice, Kev. That is nice. Kevin says, I told him I thought he overpaid me. Well, that was the right thing to do. My boss has done that to me before also, and I assure you the right thing to do is to call him out on it, because otherwise he's going to think you're trying to take advantage of him if he realizes he gave you too much money. If he did it on purpose, he'll say, don't worry about it. I gave it to you on purpose and everything's fine. But if you don't say anything and it turns out it was an accident and he gets home and realizes he's missing in a few 20s, he's going to think you snowed him whether you did or not. So you did the right thing. I've been in that situation before. I used to just grab the money and stick it in my pocket and never even look at it to show him that I trusted him. Until one day that bit me in the tail. Now I count it in front of him. Kevin says, he told me it was a bonus. That's awesome, Kevin. Amanda says, awesome, Kevin. Amy says, Amy says, do you really think we let that comment slide? Geez, hammer's on overtime. Don't let the comment slide, baby. That's why you got a hammer. You handle it. I have full faith in you. I don't even have to look at it. Debbie says, Kevin, can you give me $250? Ha 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 ha. Kevin says, if you work hard all week, maybe you'll get a $250 bonus. Kevin says, hammers are working tonight. Amanda says, no, not today and tomorrow, but don't look good either way, Amy. I must have missed one. Hang on. I don't know what you're responding to, Amanda. I don't see another chat there.
You didn't. It was the comment sliding.
Oh, okay. Any update on your possible kidney stone? Well, apparently it has assuaged. It stopped hurting this past weekend, It went in increments. Like it was a little better one day and a little better the next day and a little better the next day. And the last 2 days, it hasn't really hurt me, but I can still feel it. Like it's not pain. I just know it's there, right? It's kind of weird. So I'm guessing it moved. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a weenie and I had a headache. Could be too. DJ John says, thanks, Jake. The amount of meds I'm on, when I walk, I rattle. Wow. I've been there, buddy. Batshit Crazy says, Chief, what's up, Batshit? Nice to see you, buddy. Debbie says, I once was on a drinking team with a bowling habit. I understand. That's funny. A drinking team with a bowling habit. So you get drunk every Wednesday night regardless, but every now and then you get a strike. Right. Amanda says, hi, Batshit Crazy. Batshit says, hey, folks. Amy says, LOL, Debbie. And Amanda says, LOL. Well, you didn't ask for it. You didn't ask for gel, silly. Oh, I don't care. I'll get tired of it and just whack it off with a pair of scissors. I don't care. I don't do things to my hair. I know. Bill Bennett says, congratulations, Kevin. Angela Askins is here. Hello, darling. How are you? She says, I'm here. Hello, all. Nice to see you, Angela. Kevin says, thanks, guys. You deserve it. I told you, and you might not have remembered me telling you, but there's been a couple of times, including last week, that you did something nice. Remember? And I've told you at the end of every show that God notices when you do nice things, didn't I? And I've also told you at the end of every show that we live in a reciprocal universe. Now you're seeing it work, because when you give, you receive. It may not be exactly what you gave. It may not be in the exact area that you gave it. But God knows what you have need of, and he gives when you give. It's a beautiful situation. And I promise it works every time. Sometimes you got to look to find it, but it's there, I promise. I'll give you an example. And I brag about this, and I probably shouldn't, but I feel confident. It's happened enough times that I feel confident to say this. I don't get stranded, ever. I don't have to. If I ran out of gas on the way to work, and you can ask my girlfriend if you don't believe me, I will get out of my car and go sit on the bumper, because in 2 minutes, somebody will pull over and give me a ride or have a gas can. Every time. I don't look, I don't stress, I don't worry, I don't fret. It's taken care of. That's one of those little things that I feel like God has blessed me with. I have broken down on a motorcycle in the middle of nowhere, no traffic at all. Can't push the motorcycle, it's 1,000 pounds. It has a flat tire or something. It ain't going anywhere. Can't leave it because it's a Harley. If I come back, it won't be there. Within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, somebody pulls over with a trailer and has room to take me where I need to go. Every time. That's a blessing. And I've seen it happen enough times that I've come to count on it. Why God does that, I don't know. What I did to deserve it, I don't know. But I can tell you it happens every time. I've never been stranded. Look for that in your life. What thing has God touched you with that you don't have to worry about? That for whatever reason you take it for granted, or it just never became a thing. You never noticed it because it's always there. Point it out to yourself. Remember that old expression, count your blessings? Try it. Count your blessings. See what you got. See what you come up with. Be honest. Don't just count your curses. Count your blessings too. That includes things like waking up easily, right? Breathing when you wake up in the morning. Being in a relative good mood. That's a blessing. Believe me. You ever been around me when I wake up in the morning? Not a nice fella. Amanda says, hey, Angela. Amy says, I stood up for myself last night. Great. The top supervisor asked me if everything was okay, and I told him I felt like a mushroom. No connection, no communication. The guy at the library area was moved, and no one told me. And I have to cover that area, and they should have at least said that instead of me finding out because of a radio call. I agree with you there. They're just taking advantage of you. You work hard, you do your job, you take care of your area, and next thing you know, oh, take care of that area too. No discussion, no asking you how it's going to affect your workload. Just here, more work. Same pay, more work. I get it. My boss does that to me all the time. Good on you for standing up. Rich S., what's up, my brother? Nice to see you. He says, what the heck is going on, folks? You see it. Me in a bowler shirt behind a green screen that isn't green. That isn't blocked out. Whatever. It's not on. Amy says, hey, Angel Eye. Amanda says, hey, Rich. Kevin says, hello, Rich. Rich S. says, Amanda, come on camera and say hi to everybody. Listen, this town ain't big enough for the both of us. Are you trying to say my girlfriend ain't real, that I'm doing it all by myself? I've got another phone over here with a voice like this. I made her up. She's all in my head. Rich says, hey, Kev. Angela says, I've thought I was overpaid before. I worked on percentage. My usual game paid 33, but I worked a game that normally paid 25. I got paid in cash. So when I went to give the extra money back, he said that he paid me 33. You worked a game. Does that mean you're a dealer at a casino or something like that? Kevin says, hello, Angela. Amy says, buffering could be on my end. Well, this thing does kick me out every now and then, but it comes right back live, so it's probably just the internet. Rich S. says, nah, it was JJ. JJ me? Rich S. says, I thought just Santa knows when we are naughty or nice. Oh, no. I have a record. I keep, you think Santa, do you think Santa is above the pay grade of God? I work for the boss man. Santa's a low grade guy at best. He's like 4th or 5th down on the totem pole. I work for the man in charge. I've got the list, believe me. Santa has a list. God made the list. I have discernment. That's straight from the tap. Think about that. Bill Bennett says, old saying, what goes around comes around is true. Also, be honest and you will be mostly stress-free. This is true, and the reason for this is because it's easy to remember the truth. It's hard to remember all the lies that you stack up to keep lies going, which is why people that lie a lot are stressed to the max and usually very easy to make cry. I always feel like a victim of some kind. I'm not a victim of anything. I've been through a traditionally hard life. I could tell you stories that make you cry. I could tell you stories that would wrench your heart out, scare you, make you wonder if I'm making it all up. Those kind of stories. In fact, when I was a young man, I used to get accused quite often of telling outlandish stories. That's the word they would use, outlandish, which actually means from another country. They don't understand that, though. What they mean is I made it up. Anyway, I didn't make it up. I just don't know how to fit in with people. So I tell stories like I'm talking to groups of people because that's the only way I know how to communicate. Anyway, the idea of that story is Stress is mostly self-caused, right? Listen very carefully, because I'm struggling to articulate random thoughts that are firing in my brain and bouncing around. Stress is caused by you. Your body releases chemicals that go to the brain. Some are endorphins, norepinephrine, uh, uh, serotonin, uh, all the other ones. I can't remember. One of them is cortisol. And the way that you produce cortisol is hyper worry. If you worry about something, you begin to produce cortisol. It's your body's self-defense mechanism. It goes back to when we were hunter-gatherers and you would have to worry about eating for the winter. You would begin to worry about food and start putting on weight when you ate, because cortisol raises all the levels in your body and causes you to store fat, among other things. It also makes your heart race, makes your blood thicker. There's a lot of things that happens when your cortisol levels go up. That's why stress is very visible on somebody's face. You can see it in their eyes and how they hold themselves, their forehead, lots of wrinkles, that sort of thing. But stress is like a bag of bricks. You created it. You filled the bag full of bricks, and you're carrying it. But you can set it down. If you set it down, it's no longer heavy. But you have to come to terms with that. You have to bifurcate your mind. You have to build boxes to put things in your mind. Put the things that worry you in one place. Put the things that make you happy in another place, away from the stuff that you worry about. And appropriately think about the things that are affecting you. That's how you do it. And what goes around does come around. And because we live in a reciprocal universe, if you put good into the world, good will come in your direction. But if you put negativity into the world, negativity will come in your direction. That's the way it is. I promise. It's not a secret. It's not a magic trick. That's the way the world functions. You got to put positivity in the world to have positivity come into your life. If you're waiting on it to come to you, you're going to be waiting a long time. You have to initiate this sequence. Bill says, same here. Do good. Same here. Do good. Good people help. Me, Jake. Me understand. Ugh. Amy says, random acts of kindness. Yes. Amy says, yep. Amy. Angela says, yep, Amy. Heart. Kevin says, 10% to feed Jake. LOL. Well, thank you, Kevin. God bless you, sir. I appreciate that. I don't care if it was 0.5%. The fact that you're thinking about me is kind enough, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to point out that because you did that, God is showing you that he cares. That's why good comes into your life. I know it seems a little trite, and it seems like I put that into action, but I didn't. I don't even know your boss. But I promise you, you want to see it keep happening, keep doing it. You'll see. And do it. Don't just do it to me if you think it's just a me thing. Do it for somebody else. Be nice to someone else and see what happens. Kevin says, Bible study is my blessing. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's mine too. I'm not getting anything out of it. I'm getting something out of the fact that it exists. Amanda says, wow, grouch of the universe when he wakes up or super tired. Yeah, I am a little grouchy, and I apologize. But, I mean, look at this face. How could I not be grouchy, right? Somebody told somebody one time, I don't think that guy likes me very much. And they responded with, him? That guy doesn't even like himself. Angela says, I'm in the bestest mood when I wake up in the morning. Oh, I hate people like you. No one has messed up my day yet. I hear you. those people that wake up singing and bounce around and want the sun coming in, I would like to strangle you to death. I can't. I hate people like you. I'm the guy. I don't even want to be looked at until I've had 2 cups of coffee. Right? I need time. I need to adjust to this thing called life that I just suddenly realized I'm still in. Right? Leave me be. Let me get going. Then I'm quite personable. I can be quite fun to be around in the PM hours. In the AM hours, not so much. That's a nice hot cup of coffee. Thank you. Amanda says, hey man, Kevin. Amy says, I'm covering 11 buildings now by myself. Well, at the very least, your boss should have given you a raise. Rich S says, I got a blessing. I have never lost anything, nor have I ever had something stolen from me, nor have I ever been scammed. Well, Rich, I don't know how old you are, but that is a blessing, because there's a lot of that going on in the world. And thank God you don't have to know what it feels like to understand that your friends will steal from you. It's true that when you get broken into, you come home and your house has been rummaged through, 90% of the time it's somebody you know and somebody that was there recently. They saw something they wanted, they came back when you were gone to get it. And it was somebody you know. Might be somebody you love. I do not envy anybody that has to go through that and realize that their friends aren't really their friends. So God bless you for not having ever been scammed or stolen from. That's beautiful. Anybody else like to share their blessings tonight? This seems like a good night for counting your blessings. Angela says, dang, Amy, that's so much work. Kevin says, Amanda, if you only knew how much Jake helped me understand, you would understand why I'm so grateful. I think she understands. She's been there, Kevin. Rich says, I know she's real. I've heard her holler at you. Right. I actually, on my day job, I'm a ventriloquist, so you're actually hearing me holler at me. It's kind of weird up in here, but. Amy says, Rich, you've never lost a sock. Lucky guy. He probably doesn't wash clothes. You can only lose socks if you wash clothes. Amanda says, just a figment of your imagination. Right? I wonder what I do to get that vertebrae to get out of the way. Figment of my imagination. That's a deep joke. You got to think about that one. Patty says, I'm so blessed. I know you are. Debbie says, Jake needs to verify she doesn't have a blow-up valve. Come here, Amanda. Stick your finger out like that. There you go. Amy says, socks and hair ties have no idea where they go. They just disappear. Well, there's a little man that lives under your dryer that collects the lint from them and makes blankets and sells them on the black market. That's why you're always losing those things. He uses that material to make blankets, just so you know. And there's also a little man in your belly button that collects lint too. And if you look right now, I bet there's some in there. A little bit. Magic. Kevin says, LOL, Debbie. That's right. DJ John says, she's real. The coffee cup fills itself up loads of times. She's real. Amy says Jake has a stockpile of patches. Right on. Patches. I guess I don't get that joke. Amanda says, LOL.
Patch your blow up doll.
Patch the blow up doll. Got it. I see it now. All right. Amanda says, LOL. Well, Debbie, define blow, and technically it's suck. Blow is just a figure of speech. Amanda says, LOL, right, DJ? Angela says, nope. I'm an entertainment agent. Really? The carnival industry. And yes, I'm a carny. Best job I've ever had. If I were healthier, I'd still be out there. I hear you. Entertainment agent. I'm guessing you don't book bands. I'm guessing you run the ring toss or the throw the dart at the thing, something like that. Debbie says, Amanda, you trying to get me in trouble? Amy says, Judge Judy said that if you tell the truth, you don't need a good memory. True. To some degree. I need a good memory because I talk a lot and I have to pull up words that I have forgotten. Rich S says, Angela, what kind of awesome fun job is that? Yes, be specific. Inquiring minds want to know. And Amanda says, how about unmod that? I don't know what you mean. Unmod that? What are you talking about?
Somebody said to unmod me.
Oh, who? Who said that?
I don't know. I booted him.
Okay. Angela says, yep, both socks and hair ties, and also anything that is in my hand for any length of time. Oh, listen, I have used the flashlight on my phone to look for my phone. Amanda says, LOL, no, Debbie. Dopamine is my favorite. That's the word I was thinking of. Thank you, Amy. Generation X says, get a grip. I have a grip, Generation X. I'm actually from Generation X, so I have a grip. What are you talking about? Welcome to the show. And Amy says, what kind of grip? I have a strong grip. Sometimes I like to use the other hand. Amanda says, you grip it too hard, you grip it so hard it spits. Boy, we're getting deep tonight. Kevin says, please hit that thumbs up button, everybody. Generation says, WTF, this is what? What problem do you have with it, Generation X? What's the matter? Are you mad because loads of people aren't coming to hang out with you? Amanda says, y'all are dirty-minded. You're the one that said that. What does that say about you, young lady? Amy says, negative Generation X, LOL. Right. Angela says, Rich, it was the coolest. My dog, Lucy, was on the road with me. I did a beanbag balloon bust, and she would gather my beanbags for me. Sweet. Nice job. I kind of do that for a living. I'm an entertainer also. I use music for my avenue of entertainment, but I'm also kind of a comedian and kind of a magician and kind of a mentalist and kind of a little bit of everything. Enough to keep the show interesting for the most part. A little bit teacher, a little bit philosopher, a little bit physics, a little bit you know, historian a little bit, everything. A jack of all trades, master of none. Anyway, it sounds like a fun job. I had a chance when I was a teenager to become a carny and eventually talk myself out of it, but I was right there at it. And I'm glad I did, because like a month later, the train crashed in Lakeland, Florida, and killed a bunch of people that I would have been on that train. It was the Ringling Barnum and Bailey Circus train. Ringling Brothers. Died that close. They came in town, and they just about had me talked into going with them, and chickened out. Thank God I didn't. Patty says, dang, preach, preach. Thank you, thank you. I do my best. What doesn't exist, Generation X? That doesn't exist? No, you do not. What the F are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about doesn't exist. No, I do not what, and whatever the hell I want to talk about. This is my show. You're the visitor. Don't like it, you can get kicked out. People do not do good, they just say they do. Well, that says more about you than it does me, because I know people that genuinely do good, and I've witnessed it happen. It's probably telling that it doesn't happen for you. That tells me more about your character and what you are as a human being than the people I'm talking to. So before you go, choose your words carefully, because you're digging yourself a hole and exposing who you are when you do it. People want to believe that they do good by saying they do good, and some of them actually do good, because some of us are not sociopaths that only think about themselves. Kevin says, Generation X, I'm sorry you feel that way. You're going to notice a lot of empathy for you as you dig a hole, because they realize that you've never experienced good for yourself or from other people. That's why you don't know it exists. So, I bet you're also one of those people that would say God doesn't exist. Let me start by asking you a question. Do you know everything? Because it sounds like you do. And if you don't know everything, is it possible that there are some things that you don't know? Amy says, you have in front of your name a negative sign. That's the symbol for negative. Negative Generation X. There you go. Generation X says, no, haha. Actually, you do. I can see it. Amy says, yep, don't be negative. Here's the thing, Generation X. I would like for you to prove me wrong. So here's what I want you to do. For the next week, I can't make you do this. Only you can do this. And chances are you're going to chicken out and be exactly the kind of person that I think you are. But prove me wrong. Show me I'm wrong. Get the upper hand. Have the satisfaction of proving to me that you know something I don't know. The next week, I want you to go out into the world and do something nice for somebody every single day. Selfless. I mean, just out of the kindness of your heart. Something nice that you don't have to do. And by the end of the week, if that hasn't come back on you twofold, I want you to come back and report to me that it hasn't. And if it hasn't, I will close up shop the next day and never make another video again. You have my word on it. Amy says, don't be negative, and Amanda says, crotchety old man. Crotchety old man. Release the Kraken. Generation X says, last time I looked, you don't get into heaven on good intentions. True. Nobody said anything about getting into heaven. Last time I looked, you're adding words to the things that I said. So maybe you should really consider your position because you don't have one. And Debbie says, I stretch and sing good morning when I get up, and then I make coffee. Oh yeah, I would strangle you to death. Good morning. That'd be it. Amy says the only way to get to heaven is in John 3:16. But Jesus does say to be kind to people, so yes, it kind of does, Gen X, negative Gen X. Says Amy, and she's right. You are to love your brother or your neighbor as you love yourself, and to love God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, your body, and your strength. That is the most important thing to take away from the Bible, the whole Bible, cover to cover. That's the most important stuff. But the only way to get into heaven is through Jesus, the truth, the life, and the way. You have to believe in him to get to heaven. That is the only requirement. There is no other requirement. Amanda says, neither of us are morning people, so we don't say anything to each other for the first 30 minutes. Right on. Angela says, I don't let the sun in. I drink my coffee outside with the squirrels and birds. I have roommates. I have respect for them. Yeah, I go out because I have to, not because I want to. Although there is something to be said for a beautiful morning. I love a good, beautiful morning. I just don't like to be there when it's morning. Patty says, your works on earth is all you'll be taking with you if you do get to go to heaven. Very smart and very true. When you do good things, Generation X, you are building up your treasures in heaven. The stuff that you can't leave here on earth. The stuff you take with you when you go. Because the stuff you accumulate here won't go with you. But the good deeds and the good feelings and the good thoughts and the good works will go with you. Amy says, love thy neighbor as I love thyself. In other words, be nice. Yes. X Generation says, I had a blessing. I've lost everything. That was a blessing. Yes, that can be a blessing. It certainly can. Losing everything makes you find yourself. It gives you no other choice. You have to find yourself. Bill says, I was talking about being stranded and good people come to help, LOL. No one can read my texts. I apologize. I've got my own language. I hear you. That's all right, Bill. We'll figure it out. Angela says, I have many friends, but not many I spend time with for some reason. Well, that's because those aren't your friends. If you have a friend, that's someone you want to be with. You might have many acquaintances, and you may call them your friends. But when it comes right down to it, you probably know who would be there in a pinch, who would have your back when you needed it, who would help you move, who would give you a ride to the airport, who would stand with you when you were accused of something. A real friend. Because a real friend is there when it's not comfortable, when it's not good. They have your back because they're your friend and for no other reason. That's a friend. Kevin says, I ordered parts for my truck and they came 3 days early. Blessing. Yes, it is. Angela says, a lot of my friends I have never met in person. There you go. Amanda says, glug glug 5,000. But that's in reference to something way earlier. Bill says, thank you, Lord, for letting me sleep like a baby. Also have a beautiful old lady and kids also. Thank you for the Untethered Live family. Amen. Thank you, Bill. And thank God for Bill. DJ says that part. Yes. Debbie says, when my husband died, I never had to worry about bills and finding a job. That is a blessing. Yes, it is. Sometimes just waking up is a blessing. Sometimes blessings come in a form that are so normal that we just overlook them and don't even recognize them as blessings. But I assure you, everything that occurs in your life that does not have to, that we take for granted, like having something to do. Did you know that there will come a time in your life when there's nothing to do, nowhere to go, no one to talk to, no one to call on, nothing happening, no opportunity coming your way? That is a blessing. It comes in waves. If you think back over your life, you'll remember periods of time when you were out doing stuff. You had a direction. You were going after something. And then there'll be periods of your time where you're doing nothing. You're just at the house. You hadn't seen the outside in a few days. You don't have a direction. You don't really have anything to do. And you ask yourself, where did all the opportunities go? When I wanted a car, I just went and got one. I didn't even have a job. I spent 30 years without a job, having everything I wanted in life because I would go get it when I wanted it. Can't do that now. Where did all those opportunities go? Well, time changes and people change. And sometimes God gives you enough to get started, and what you do with it matters. Maybe you squandered away your opportunities just thinking about yourself, just living in the moment, doing whatever you wanted to do. Maybe you didn't take that and build on it and build a future with it, and now it's gone. That's an opportunity. It was here, and now it's not. So be careful when those opportunities come your way, and put some thought into using them for the right reasons. Put some thought into how to handle it. Because if you don't, it may just disappear. Amanda said, I got fingered. Oh no. That was when we did that thing. Just so you know. Kevin says, Deb, yes, that sure is a blessing. Amy says, taking the trash to the dumpster. The mulberry tree is making a mess of the parking lot. Yes, when I was a little boy, we had a mulberry tree in my yard, and I was the kind of little boy that ran around in his underwear all the time. And I've got pictures of me purple from head to toe from rolling around in those mulberries that fall all over the ground in purple underwear. It was a mess. Those things, that purple does not come out, by the way. You have to wear it off, or sandpaper. Old mulberry trees. I remember that to this day, having that mulberry juice all over me. Because they fall to the ground, and they're just all over the ground, and if you get out there messing around, it don't take long for it to get all over you. Angela says, my dog sheds enough to make a blanket. I throw it outside for the birds and the animals. They can use it to make nests. Interesting. Never thought about that. I'm sure they feel blessed. Debbie says, Amanda, that was a plastic or rubber finger. She thinks it is sometimes. Anyway. Amanda says, well, depends on the day, Debbie. Amy says, Poppy's sitting out in the parking lot. Poppy? Police. Got it. Popo sitting out in the parking lot. Rich says, Generation X, those who do good works usually do so quietly. It's others who recognize them for their good works. Very good wisdom here, Generation X. I hope you're paying attention. Amy says, the Popo, not the Poppy. I got it. Unmod that. The troll wanted Amanda to stop booting trolls. Isn't that like the pot calling the kettle black? You can't have it both ways, trolls. Either troll or get booted. Or be a good citizen. One or the other. Amanda says, better be a good girl, Amy. Amy says, I'm back inside, LOL. Well, that's good. Maybe you're not getting mulberry juice all over your shoes. Kevin says, Rich, exactly. Amy says, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, WTF. That's how it goes. Kevin says, Generation X is just a drive-by troll, LOL. Well, that may be so, but I'm hoping I can reach some of those drive-by trolls. I fully expect a lot of them, but hopefully I can reach one of them every now and then and say something that sticks with them, and maybe that's enough to entice them back. Basically, what Wednesday and Friday is me fishing. I'm fishing from new people. I'm trying to build this channel by throwing lines out there and hoping somebody will bite on one of them and I can reel them in. That's basically what it is. We built this city on sloths and trolls. Amanda says, grip the lotion too hard, it spits. See? Dirty mind. Rich S says, bleh. Jeffrey Albertson, welcome to the show. What does honoring your father and mother mean when they're acting up? The Bible does say, and it is one of the 10 Commandments, Jeffrey. That's a great question, by the way. The Bible does say, as one of the 10 Commandments, that you must honor your mother and father, that you have a long life. Well, you have to honor your mother and father. Honor and like are not the same thing. You do not have to like them. You do not have to put up with them. You do not have to follow them if they are not being worthy of being followed. If you have the kind of parents that hurt you, you should get away from them. Call the police, tell an adult, pick up a stick, whatever it is you got to do that. Don't let people mistreat you or misuse you. If they are, however, worthy, if say you got strict parents, but they love you and they're trying to do the best for you, then you follow them. But honor means that you act in accordance with traditions of people. When your parents get old, you take care of them. When your parents provide a home for you, you do your chores. You do what you're told as long as you live under that roof. You honor their memory. You honor them as people. They are your parents. For no other reason, they brought you into this world. That's worthy of honor. You don't have to like them, though. And you certainly don't have to follow them if they're being misuseful. And I hope that that's not the case. And I hope that that explanation is satisfactory. If you want more detail, go to Google and look the word honor up and look at all the meanings of that word. And you'll see what's expected of you. Amy says, my blessing was my son putting the window AC unit in the front room last night. It was 86 degrees here today. I know I'm burning up right now. Normally I have a fan, but people don't love me all the time, so. That is a blessing. Tell your son thank you. Make him some dinner or something. Angela says, I used a bubble machine and colorful lights. It helped set up a circus once. Or I helped set up a circus once. The bleachers, the hard physical labor. Oh, yeah. I've done lots of that in my lifetime, hard physical labor. I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I've picked up a few heavy things before. But I, too, use colorful lights and bubble machines and smoke machines and things like that in my profession. Thank you, love. Whew. Better. One of my mustache hairs trying to escape. Amy says, Jeffrey, My dad died July 1st last year. Thank God my mom is still here. I honor his memory by acting up. He had a great sense of humor. My mom, she has wooden spoons. Ha. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways to honor your parents. But if they're good parents, honor them with love and honor and dignity and pride. And do your best to take care of them and be part of their family. Tell them you love them. Show them that you're their son. Put into mind what they had in mind when they built a family and be part of that. I have some children that decided the other path. So, not everybody gets that. Amy says, sounds like a lot of work, but fun work, Angel. Yes. Angela says, you sound like me in the morning. Yes. Ergies, long time no see, Ergies. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Dude, where's your background? And hello, y'all. Well, I'm having internet issues right now. For whatever reason, it's decided not to work anymore. And so I have to come on my phone for a few weeks until they get out here on the 12th to fix it. Apparently, they can't spare anybody before the 12th, even though I make a living on the internet and it's a great inconvenience not to have it. They seem to be in no rush to fix it. So we just have to wait and see. Until then, I'm on my phone and probably won't do a whole lot of making a living until they fix it. Where is Aaron at? Amy? Amy says, hi, Ergies, welcome back. His computer ain't working. No, my computer's fine. It's my internet that ain't working. I have a pretty solid machine here I built myself. It's a Mac. It's one of those big cheese grater Macs, and it's powerful, and it works just fine. No internet, though. And by the way, I pay a lot for that extra internet speed. So, a month that I got to pay for that I didn't get to use. We're going to have talks about this. Me and the internet company, I mean. Ergie says, hi, Amy. Kevin says, Ergies, he's broadcasting from his phone because his internet's down. Right on. Amanda says, hi, Ergies. He's on the phone. Our internet is out. We're waiting on a technician. Right on. Amy says, he's making the most of what he's got to work with. Right. If life hands you lemons, go find somebody whose life handed them vodka and you make screwdrivers. Kevin says, how about just making the world a better place? That is a beautiful thing. Always welcome. We need more of that. This generation has completely lost the plot. They're basically zombies. They're just out there milling around. They're not going to build anything. They're not going to produce anything. They're not going to be worth anything. They're not valuable in any way. They are a complete loss. So it's up to the previous and the next generation to pick up the slack and keep this world turning. So everybody on this end of the generation needs to pick up the slack and start overproducing love. Get out there and make something happen in the world, something good, because this generation ain't going to do it. Complete loss. Almost 100% catastrophic. Amanda says, it's a good thing we have good phones. Yeah, I tried to go live on my tablet. My tablet won't do it. My phone will, though, so thank God for that. I happen to have been blessed by a woman who made sure I had a good phone, because my previous phone was from the dollar store and cost $20 and would not do this. This phone, she made sure it was a good one, so thank you. Ergie says, hey, Amanda, sorry to hear that. Thank you. And that shows the hustle in him. Still online. That's right. Rain, snow, sleet, or hail. I'm coming. Never mind the mule, just load the wagon. Amanda says, yes, Ergies, and thanks. It sucks. We can't even watch TV. Yeah, we've got one of those Fire TVs that basically requires the internet to work. It's a nice big TV, but it doesn't do anything without internet. It doesn't even have a nice screen on it. I think they missed the point. Debbie says, my husband and son would scowl at me. It just made me sing louder. Nice. Yeah, I understand that. Ergie says, you guys are using IPTV? What about satellite? We don't have satellite. We're just using the internet. So basically, all of our communications is wrapped up in the internet one way or the other. And when it's out, we're just out of luck. Amy says, bad news. My Chihuahua isn't doing very well. He's getting old and wheezing. He's almost 15, and it's going to devastate me, making his last day comfortable. Aw. I'm sorry to hear that, Amy. But animals don't live very long. You know that. And it's time. The best you can do is show him that you love him, and then make it swift, and send him to his father. Yes, animals do go to heaven. It is biblical. And so, you know, you being the adult or the person with a brain, you have to make that decision. That's one of the backdraws of having a Chihuahua. You have to make that decision. Or with any animal, really. But you can handle it. You're tough. And you know it's coming. So it's not a surprise. And I feel for you, and you're in my prayers always, but if it's time for that puppy to go, there ain't no sense in letting them suffer. Just get it over with. Like a Band-Aid. Pull it off quick. Amanda says, we have a Fire TV and Roku. Ergie says, got ya. Amanda says, oh, Amy, I'm sorry to hear that. Me too. Angela says, dang, Amanda, I have an antenna just for those moments. At least I can get local TV stations for a time being. I didn't even know they still had local TV stations. I haven't seen a TV in forever. Ergies sent $2.49 and said, hey, buddy, I see you're still online. Thank you, Ergies. God bless you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the £2. $2.49. Amanda says, but we have tablets with service, so at least we can watch YouTube, LOL. Right. Well, we can watch TV on the tablets, but it ain't strong enough to broadcast, so I can't do the show from the tablet, which would only slightly be better than using my phone. I could have a widescreen, but whatever. Amanda says, but we had, I read that one. Thank you, Ergies. Yes, thank you. Amy says, Chewy barely goes out anymore. I have to make him go out to potty. I understand. I have a little dog too, which won't be much longer. We're going to be facing that situation also, so I understand. But you're a good parent, and you've been good to the puppy, and the puppy's loved you. So, you know, take comfort in that. Amy says, that's good, Debbie. My husband's life insurance wasn't very big, and I managed to use it for 2 years, though. Right on. When my dad died, he left me $14,000, which sounds like a lot of money. It ain't. And I used it. It took about 2 years to run out of that. Angela says, being a carny taught me how to deal with and understand better all the walks of life all across this great nation. That is a blessing in itself. By the way, we aren't so divided at all. That's true. There's a lot more that makes us the same than there are things that make us different. The biggest differences is people's religions. That's where the biggest differences come in. Most people are basically the same no matter where you go. There's cliques. There's different types of people but there's only a few different types of people, but most people fall into one of those categories. But when you get into religious beliefs or ideologies, that's when things get really different. And that's where you got square pegs and round holes. But you can bypass that in entertainment because you go over that for something else, right? So for 2 hours, we're not thinking about religion. We're not thinking about work. We're not thinking about death. We're not thinking about pain or taxes. We're just listening to music. So for 2 hours, I have a captivated audience. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on or what religious beliefs they have. They're just people. So that's a beautiful thing. But then you get back to the reality that we're different people. So there are differences, but most people can understand each other on a very basic level, even if they don't speak the same language. What it is? What's up, brother? He says, letting you all know my wife entered into eternal life this morning, going into heaven and shouting. Oh, I'm sorry, what it is. I didn't know that she was in a bad way. Well, God bless your wife. She is with the Father now. And you're in our prayers. I'm sorry to hear that. If there's anything you need, don't hesitate to reach out. Are you doing okay? Do you need anything? Chickahoochee DNA Doggo says, want to hear a joke? Only if it's dirty. Amanda says, hey, what it is? And Amy says, oh, my deepest condolences, what it is. I'm so sorry to hear about your loss. And we all love you, what it is, and I hope that we can be here for you if you need somebody. Please reach out if you do. Amanda says, sorry to hear that, what it is. Prayers. Rich S says, prayers that she sees his face today. And may you also be at peace, my brother. And Kevin says, so sorry what it is. Angela says, Amy, I'm so sorry about your dog. I will be praying for you both. I know how it is. My dog has problems getting up in my bed. I made a ramp for her, though. Sometimes even that's hard for her. What it is says, God bless this live stream for being here. It's been a process for my Ashley, and that's why I've been MIA, giving her my full attention, as you should have. Well, nobody faults you for that. Well, you're always welcome here, what it is, always. And I'm sorry that she's been ill, but just think, that's over. She's not sick anymore. She's not in any kind of pain or sorrow or any kind of anguish anymore. She is with the Father. Can you only imagine what she's seeing right now, what she's experiencing, who she's talking to? That's a beautiful thing. The Bible says to rejoice when people go back to the Father, to mourn when they come into the world, because they got to experience all of this. So it's a blessing that she's now with him. I hope that you can eventually see it that way. I know it's tough to lose somebody, but just remember, she's not in a hole in the ground. She's not gone. She's not dead. She's with the Father. Her spirit just went to a different place. I hope that helps. God bless you, sir. Amanda says, you did what you should have done, what it is. Hugs and sending you our love. And she's in God's hands now. Be at peace, man. Amen. What it is says, hello to all at Untethered Live. We're all here with you, sir. Patty says, Jake, who is the eagle in Revelations 8:13? Just think about it if you don't know. Well, I know, but I am going to think about it because I'm going to articulate an answer for you. I'm going to write this down. I'll kill myself first. Open the drawer. Jake, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. You nearly killed me. Looking for a pen. All right. There. Sorry about that. Terrifying. All right. All right. I have it written down, and on Sunday, I will answer that question. The reason I'm going to wait till Sunday is because it's a deep subject, and I want to make sure that I cover all the bases so that when I give you an answer, it's clearly understandable who we're talking about and why. That's why. It's a great question, by the way. Great question. If you want to really get confused, read the book of Daniel and know that when the Bible starts describing the character that's in Daniel, the dream, know that each one of those layers of that character is a different group of people. And know that God is telling Daniel a specific thing about the world that's going to come in the next few hundred years. The book of Daniel talks about 70 weeks. And those weeks are years, not days. And they just ended in 1948. 1948 was the conclusion of the 70 weeks of Daniel. So that'll tell you how long into the future Daniel was looking, and that'll give you an idea who all those people are in the description of the character in his dream. Revelations is not unlike the book of Daniel in that area. Amanda says, OMG, I'm going to be at you with the fan. You really? Patty says, Abby the Spoon Lady. Abby the Spoon Lady? Who's Abby the Spoon Lady?
That's not what it says.
It does say that. OMG, I'm going to be at you with the fan.
It's supposed to be beat you with the fan.
That's not what it says. I'm going to beat you with the fan. Okay. That's not what it says. I can read. Sometimes. Angela says, so sorry what it is. Much peace, love, and calmness sent to you. What it is, there is an overwhelming amount of love going in your direction right now. I hope you can feel that. I hope you know how everyone here is showing their heart to you. That's a blessing. Amy says, I'm back. I was talking to the third shift manager. Maybe get them to do some of the work too. Angela says, your interwebs, Jake. That's what I call it. Interwebs. Right on. Amanda says, life handed me vodka, LOL. Well, life handed me lemons. That's why we're drunk. Amy says, did you see the video of the lady saying a prayer at a town meeting? The demonic people in the crowd were throwing a fit. The name Jesus hurt them. I have seen videos like that, yes. And it's absolutely true that when you invoke the name of Jesus, the devil recoils. He cannot stand when you invoke his name. He'll flee. In fact, you can do that. You can say, get behind me, Satan, and he has to. He has to obey you because you were made above him. He can only tempt you. He cannot do anything that you don't give him permission to do. I got in trouble for saying that one time because I wasn't clear in that sometimes it's more complicated than him saying, can I tempt you? And you saying, well, yes, you can. You do invite him in, though. So when you do that, that's how he gets you. Amanda says, you're always welcome, Jake. You deserve the finer things in life. Thank you, Amanda. I don't have the finer things in life, but I'm happy with what I got. Except for this thing in my hair that will not sit down for some reason. Lifeless devil, come out. I'm going to get a pair of scissors after it in a minute. Amanda says it had a good screen when the Roku video thing is playing, LOL. Oh, you're talking about the TV? Yeah, yeah. If the Roku's on, it has a good background screen when it ain't busy. But if there's no internet, it's just gray. Why make a TV that won't do anything unless it has all the right stuff? That doesn't make any sense to me. In the old days, you had a little thing called an RF modulator. And so anything special that you wanted to run, like the internet or a VCR or a video game, you just plugged it into the RF modulator and it came on your TV screen on channel 3. But it had UHF and VHF channels built in to where you could switch over and just watch TV from one box. You could do everything. If you had a cable box, you could switch over and use that. Now, you have a big, expensive, big widescreen TV that does nothing. You can't even change the channels on it. It doesn't even have buttons unless you have a remote. You can't do anything with it. It's just a screen. That seems like going backwards to me. That's the opposite of evolution. Speaking of which, has anybody noticed? I mean, really think about it. Think about the 20s. 1920. From 20 to 40, think about what was invented in that time. Think about the people that existed in that time, what they had to look forward to. They were hearing things like the Philadelphia experience and experiment, the Manhattan Project, and Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla, and all that stuff was going on at that time. Think about from the 80s to 2025, what has really happened. Smaller phone, all your music in one little box. That's it. Smaller than bigger TVs. That's it. Think about when you were a child, what you thought the future would be versus what it is. Is there a reason we haven't invented anything in a while? Is there a reason that everything that we have invented is going backwards? Think about it. We went to the moon in 1969, if you believe that sort of thing. Can you name a technology that has not gotten cheaper, smaller, and easier to make and more widely available after its first use, other than the moon landing? Because all that technology, we can't repeat it. Can't do it. It's not doable. There's still, Elon Musk is still trying to figure out how to make rockets work. We made them work in 1969. They're trying to figure it out now. Every other technology that's ever been invented, it's some pretty impressive stuff. Cheaper, easier to make, easier to buy, faster to produce, more people doing it, except for the moon landing stuff. Why is that? Just thought I'd ask. Amy says, pets teach us responsibility and how to love, but they also teach us about loss and grief. Yep. Yes, they do. Amanda says, yes, Amy, but he will be back with your husband and they can take care of each other. Oh, y'all gonna make me cry. Stop it. Amy says, and he'll be with my Jack Beagle too. Nice. Amanda says, that's right. Angela says, they teach us unconditional love and protection. Mine reminds me of God's love for me. Oh, you guys are so sweet. I love you guys. DJ John says, I don't have a TV. I've got a projector with a Fire Stick and fiber internet. It must be nice. Yeah, she wants a projector. I'm not so sure about it. Amy says, nothing compared to the loss of a spouse. I'm crying for what it is right now. Yeah, nothing does compare to that. The loss of a spouse or the loss of your children is about the hardest thing you'll ever have to experience in this world. It's not easy. It ain't supposed to be. If it were easy, it would be a problem. But it helps, at least for me. I've seen people act all kinds of ways when somebody dies, especially those that throw themselves on the coffin and screaming and wailing, and I don't do that, right? It helps me to know where they went. It helps me to understand the process that is occurring. These people are not dying. We use that term because it's the end of a life, because the clay pot breaks. If you recognize this for what it is, a clay pot, God built a vessel and put your soul in it. When that clay pot breaks, the soul goes back to the Father who gave it, but very much still alive. I imagine that this soul, this clay pot has trappings such as memory holes. So while you're in it, you can't remember all of that that's going on out there, because you were here before you were in this clay pot. Because we're all created at the beginning when he created the host. That's when you were created. So you've been here this whole time. All you can remember, though, is what happened in this clay pot. So I would imagine when you die, you were flooded with memory of before and now in a way that you don't have here on earth. I don't know how to describe that because I've never experienced it. But it seems to me like you would be able to experience things that you couldn't even imagine in this body. But when you understand that the spirit goes to the Father, and you know that that's true, it makes death a whole lot easier to handle, because now you know where that person is. That you know, when your husband leaves and goes down the road to work, you know where he's at. So the loss of him is bearable because you know where he is, and you know you'll see him at a certain time. That's the same thing. He went to be with God. You know where he is, and you know at a certain time you're going to see him again. I don't know when that time is. It's not 6 o'clock, but, you know, at some point, that reunion is going to happen. That's got to help. It's got to make it better. I hope it does anyway. Amanda says, I want a projector, and I'm going to get one eventually, even if Jake never watches it, LOL. I'll watch it as long as it doesn't wash out with light and I can see what's on it. Every other projector experience I've ever had, if you wasn't sitting right in front of it and everything pitch black, you couldn't see what was on the TV or on the screen. I like sharp details. I like HD TV. Actually, I like film, but that's beside the point. I like a big screen, but I like 35 millimeters, so that might be a good thing. A little fuzz is good. DJ John says, prayers for everyone. Thank you, DJ John. Amy says, a square peg will fit into a round hole if you have a big enough hammer. Ha! Yeah, but it ain't a square peg anymore because you round off the edges. And the round hole ain't round anymore because you whittle out the parts the square touches. You actually damage both holes if you try to force one into the other. Or both objects, rather. Amanda says, sledgehammer. UntetheredLivestream@gmail.com, says Amy. That's the email address if you need to reach out. Please use it if you need to. Thank you, Amy. Angela says, my Lucy is a Jack Russell Beagle mix. She is named after my mom, Janice Jill, who acted like Lucille Ball. So my daughter is Jill and my dog daughter is Lucy. And yes, my brain has ADHD. I'm still trying to get over Janice Jill. Did she ever go up a hill by chance? Do you know a guy named Jack? That might explain your existence. You know, Jack and Jill went up the hill and they both had a quarter. Jill came down with 50 cents. You think they went up for water? Sorry, bad joke at your expense. Amy says, Jack Beagle Mix is a jiggle. I have a Chihuahua Shih Tzu mix. I have a Chihuahua. And she's adorable, just so you know. DJ John says, today I had shepherd's pie. First proper meal in weeks. All right, DJ John. I'm glad you're getting better, sir. I expect to have you up and talking in no time. And as soon as you can talk, I want to be on the phone with you because I want to meet you in person. Amanda says, nice, DJ. Soon it will be chicken nugget time. We had spaghetti tonight. Spaghetti's always a good go-to. Amy says, I had a bag of chips and a yogurt tube for dinner. I stopped at Arby's on the way to work and had a coupon. Nice. I haven't had Arby's in forever. I do like a good Arby's sandwich, though. I like that cheese and the roast beef or whatever it is. It's nice. Kevin says, I had chili over rice tonight. Nice. It's about time for some chili, Amanda. Amanda says, he dropped us. Y'all see how he tried to throw us away? Huh? Who tried to throw you away? Amy says, Arby's hamburgers suck. Well, you don't go to Arby's for hamburgers. The what?
When your phone fell.
Oh, yeah. Well, I tried to grab a pen, and I have a charger on my phone, and I pulled the drawer out, and it just yanked the phone right over. Anyway. Arby's is delicious, says Amanda. Amy says, normally Arby's is great, but their hamburgers suck. I imagine they would. Amanda said, I like their beef and cheddar. Right on. DJ John says, nuggets are too hard, Amanda. That time being, might have that tomorrow. Well, if you're tomorrow away from nuggets, you're doing pretty good. I would wait for a week or so before you try to eat something hard. Take it slow. Eat soupy stuff, soft stuff, chilies and beans and things that you can mush. Yeah, you don't want to swallow anything with a rough edge right now. I wouldn't imagine. All right, it's right on past 9:30. It's 10:10, so let me do the thing. Hey, like, subscribe, share, support, join. Super chats are available in the chat box if you want to chat with the chat boxer. Also, hit that Cash App, $JakeJohnsonBand. I greatly appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. Press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into our family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform me, drink me Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid as long as you're thinking critical. That's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love what you hear tonight and you think there's value in it, you want to help it go out into the world and reach other people, do the stuff, hit the buttons, press the thingies, and Cash App, $JakeJohnsonBand. That always helps. I will do everything in my power to be worthy of that support. I will answer all your questions, all your comments, all your criticisms, all your catalogs and catharses. Whatever you got, I'll take it. And I'll be here for you if you need me. My email is in the chat. Email me 24/7. I will be there. If you need me in person, I'll give you my phone number. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. I'm available. That's a good thing. It's a blessing. And now back to you. Amanda says, I said soon, DJ. Soon. Don't rush it, man. Right on. Angela says, yes, facts about Daniel. Yep. Amy says, I had a coupon and I got that coupon in the mail. The only reason I stopped, plus I was hungry. Well, coupons are a good thing to have. I like coupons. I like getting a deal. It must be a little bit of Jew in me or something because I love to break down a pay. You know, I don't pay price for anything. I negotiate at Walmart. I get thrown out because I'm like, hey, I'll give you $50 for this. It says 100. Yeah, but it's only worth 50. That's how I roll. I like to stretch a dollar. Coupons are lovely. Amanda says, LOL, Amy. Amy says, he reads them as he sees them, especially emojis. Exactly. Amy says, smiley face with herpes. That's that one. The one with the little red splotches all over it. What it is, I've had to turn this all over to God, but still having to do the footwork and rely on God. God is good all the time. I have acceptance, and thy will be done. Oh, yes, I feel the love. Amen, what it is. God bless you, sir. You are definitely in our prayers. And like I said, hit that email address if you need to talk, buddy. I'm here 24/7. All you got to do is reach out if you need it. If you don't, that's fine too. I would imagine you got a lot of stuff to do right now, though, getting things together. I remember what it was like when my parents passed away. I had to handle all of that. And I put them in the ground, too, by the way. So I had the added bonus of having to do that. So thank God you don't have to do that. Amanda says, smiley face with herpes. There it is. Bunch of them. Amy says, a bobby pin will solve that stray hair issue. I know, right? So will a pair of scissors. And I just get mad and shave the whole thing off, and then I won't look like this. See, you thought I was kidding when I said I wouldn't brush it. Don't brush it. Don't need to. It knows what to do. There. I'll just leave it down so you can't see my flyaways. I hadn't heard anybody use that word in a long time, bobby pin. Angela says, yep, the devil is our servant. He didn't want to see man because he knew that humans were not worthy. Because that humans were not worthy, we were below him. He thought that. We are not below him. We are above him, slightly above. Slightly below the angels, but slightly above Lucifer. Amanda says, LOL, Amy, he usually wears a hat. Yes, I do. I am a hat person, but not when I'm on camera. It's just hair growth, says Patty. I know, but it sticks up like Bozo the Clown, and I'm very self-conscious about hair, as you can tell. Amy says, back in the day of analog antennas, right? Amanda says, yeah. Part that about as long as they get and they just fly away and drive him crazy. They don't get any longer than that's what she's saying. Right. It's not like those little hairs will grow into longer hairs that I can then add to this hair. They don't grow any longer than that. That's just a little tuft of hair that just grows to that length and sticks out. That's it. DJ says, I have a wall that don't cost nothing, right? I hear you. The projector on the wall, it don't cost anything unless your projector goes out. That little light that's in your projector cost about $300 last time I priced one, so. Jet-Eyed Pig says, hi. This is the podcast you're looking for, Jet-Eyed Pig. Amanda says, that part, DJ, and could plug anything up to it and watch it. Amy says, hi, Jet-Eyed Pig. Debbie says, today's TVs are just big monitors. Right, exactly. Kendall Gillum says, marijuana, cocaine, your turn. Amy says, we went to the moon, supposedly. Right on, right on. Angela says, AI, which is like the Matrix. I'm not sure about the moon thing. How did we lose that technology to the moon? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. But if you go listen to them talk, they cannot reproduce it. They cannot go back. It's not that easy. To hear them tell it, the old scientists just didn't write anything down, so they have trouble figuring out what they did. I don't believe that, because that's not how science works. Everything about science teaches you to write it down. So, you just have to take their word for it. I don't know. I'm not going to go up there anytime soon. Amy says, hi, Kendale. Be careful with that stuff. Know your source. It's being laced with fentanyl. The marijuana. Amanda says, NASA lost everything. Videos, pictures, specs, etc. about the moon landing. Yeah, they lost a metric ton of data about the telemetry about going to the moon. Nowhere to be found. They have no idea what happened to it. I think they do, but they stored it on VHS tapes, if that'll give you any idea. Dennis Bigfoot says, sup, everybody. Hey, Dennis. Nice to see you, buddy. Come on in. You're just in time to watch me leave. Angela says, I don't think the moon is that far away. I really question most science, but questioning the science is science, right? Yes. That's part of science, yes. The whole idea about science, the scientific method, is to have a hypothesis and then try to falsify it. The way that you do that is you try to disprove your theory. So you come at it from a position of disbelieving your own eyes. So you have a theory. The moon is out there. How do I prove that it's not out there? I know that sounds counterintuitive, but that's how science works. If you can prove it's not out there, then it's not a valid theory. If you can't, then you have to go to the next step. How do I prove that it is out there? And then what is involved in that? And then all of the little steps that go along with it. Next thing you know, you're going there. That's how science is supposed to work. But since the 1800s, science has become an ideology. It's now a religion. Don't let anybody fool you. Science, capital S, is a religion. And they believe the stuff without having any evidence of it. How do I know that? Because they say, anybody that you argue with in the scientific community, even Neil deGrasse Tyson, the main scientist guy on TV anyway, he will appeal to authority. Something that was written in a book, he'll appeal to it. But he hasn't done the research himself. He doesn't have any firsthand knowledge. He appeals to his memory of something he read. Same thing I do. And I don't deny it. He does. The moon is 93,000 miles, 253,000 miles away from planet Earth, according to science. The sun is 93 million miles from Earth. The moon is 250,000 miles from Earth, according to science. Now, I want you to do a little math for me. Write those numbers down. 253,000, 93 million. 253,000 is the moon, 93 million is the sun. And then draw a line under that. And then write down the sun is 400 times further away from the Earth than the moon is. And the moon is 400 times smaller than the sun is. So that it's a perfect match from our perspective, that they line up and perfectly cover each other with no extra around the edge. It's perfect symmetry. Ask yourself if those two top figures add up to the bottom two figures. Try to make that work in your head. If you can, let me know, because I've been questioning that for a while. Both of those statements come from science. Amy says, hey, Dennis. Amanda says, hi, Dennis. DJ John says, my projector cost 30 pounds. Nice. Patty says, I know, Jake. What do you know? I don't know what you're saying. Angela says, nope. It's see man, serve man. Right on. Patty says, we only know about this world age. Angela says, I bet we feel lighter than a feather. You mean when we die? Probably. I don't know that you feel anything. The one thing I know about death for certain is that it is not like being in this body. In this body, you have the trappings of flesh. That means that you feel, you have emotions, you have sensations, you have sight, you have sound, you have things that work, things that don't work, pain, gray hair, all the stuff that comes with being in a body. The spirit has none of that. It's not in a body. So I'm not entirely sure that you feel anything or emote anything. I don't know. It's terrifying to think about, actually, because I don't know if I'd even like that or not, or if I would have a choice. But the one thing I know about death is it's not like being alive. Dennis says, ha ha ha, Jake thinks he's a teapot. I think I'm a teapot. This is my handle. This is my spout. What are you saying, Dennis? Dennis says, hey, Amy, you have to explain that, Dennis. I don't know what you mean. Patty says, to know all three ages is going to be mind-blowing. Right on. Not only that, I want you to picture this. Light is a spectrum from ultraviolet to infrared. And right in the middle, there's a little 12 little slits of color that we can see with the human eye. Light, its only purpose is for things that can see it. It doesn't affect anything else in the universe except things that can witness it. That's what light is. It's something the eyes use. So light doesn't have any other purpose except to be seen. That's it. That's the only thing it can do. And we can only see a very little sliver right in the middle, like a musical scale. C is in the middle, and there's 12 notes on either side of C, and most ears can go about 2 octaves, right? Or 3 octaves. But it goes in infinite in both directions, bass and treble, into the infinitesimal regions of existence. You can't even fathom how far it goes. We cannot perceive. But like light, sound's only purpose is for things that can hear it. What good is sound or vibration if you're not receiving it in some fashion? So my guess is, and this is just a guess, and it may not even be for us, it might be for God, I don't know. But my guess is that when you die, suddenly you can experience all light and sound and all frequencies and vibrations. Think about it for a minute. All things that are only usable for our senses, like smell. Things have a scent so that you can smell it. They don't have a scent nebulously. They were designed that way so you could pick up on the smell. Good things, bad things, sexual things, repulsive things. That's what smell is for. And you say, there's no proof there's a God? What did smell evolve from? Right? Anyway, my guess is when you die, all of that becomes available. Imagine what your mind will be able to do. It's quite amazing. Dennis says, hey, Amanda. Angela says, dang, my gummy must be starting. I can't type. Amanda says, projector challenge accepted. Amy says, I'm a little teapot, short and stout. This is my handle. This is my spout. Here is my handle. Damn it, I'm a sugar bowl. Aaron Wilder said hi. Hello, Aaron Wilder. I have that name also. Mermaid Adventure says, Happy Pride. How about that? What are you proud of? Amy says, Hi, Aaron Wilder. Amy says, Happy Veterans Month. Debbie says, Jill is my new hero. I knew you'd see it my way. Amanda says, Happy June. And DJ John says, That's a deal, Jake. I bet it is. I wouldn't know, but I bet it is. Kevin says, Debbie, Jill knows what makes the world go round. Rich S says, Oh, no pride BS up in here. Sorry. I am not a supporter. Me either. Patty said, Pride goeth before the fall, and we don't like falling, so we're respectfully declining your pride. I reject your reality and supplant my own in its presence. Patty says, It was a good time here. Have a great night, and thank you, Miss Amanda. Thank you, Patty. God bless you. And we had Reuben's, says Debbie, for dinner. A Reuben sandwich. I like sauerkraut sometimes. Angela says, LOL, I'm rolling. My dad was Gary Keith, and he looked like a taller Kenny Rogers. Nice. My stepmom looked like Farrah Fawcett. Dang, I'm telling my age. Right on. I like both of those people. Amy says, Pride goeth before the fall. Right. Amy says, Wow, Rich and I agree on something. Rich and I agree on something. Rich is good people. Rich says, We probably agree on more than you think. Right on. Amanda says, Agreed, Rich. Amy says, Yep. And Rich says, I love you, Amy. Oh. And again, here's my email address. If anybody needs to use it, please reach out. UntetheredLivestream@gmail.com. I'll be there 24/7. May take me a little while to get to you, but I'll get to you. Angela says, Dang, it's pouring down rain right now. I can barely see the light in the house across the street. Do you know how to tell if it's raining cats and dogs? You go outside, if you step in a poodle, you'll know. Amy says, Love y'all. Amanda says, Love Amy. Amy says, Keep that rain up there, Angel. Right on. And then it says, You got Q pens. I like Q pens too. Are you talking about bobby pins or Q pens? Amanda says, You better not cut it all off, mister.
Coupons.
Coupon. Oh, coupons. I got it. Coupons. What's his name? Tater Tot. Can't think of his name. Ron White. That guy. You got coupons?
Ron White.
That's the guy. Ron White. DJ John says, Crab. Oh, no. That's a heart. I see. Looks like a crab, though. DJ John's got crabs. Angela says, We could use it up here, except it may be around for about a week. Crops are just now sprouting up here. Too much won't be good. Ha ha. I think about the farms when I live in a large city still. You should. That's a good thing, Angel, because most people that live in cities have no idea where their food comes from. So it's good that you're thinking that way. Amy says, DJ, that looks like aprons. Wow. See the same thing and get very different in return. Aprons or crabs or hearts. Amy says, Angel, did you see my veggies? Angel says, Those are your wings, Jake. That's what I've always called them. Why do men have those? I don't know. Those wings, yeah. I think I have them because God wanted me to have something to remind me that I'm Bozo the Clown. Now that you've seen it, you can't unsee it, right? I think it's just God's way of keeping me humble. Angela says, I know it's BS. Right on. Amanda says, look at that gray hair shimmer in the lights. I know it's all gray. It used to be black. Now it's all gray. Angela says, I trust only dispensaries. Best deals also. Right on. Amy says, everything is bullshit. Yes, it is. Everything. Rich S says, dispensaries have coupons. Oh, yeah. I get quite a few deals. I get my thing of choice from a dispensary. DJ says, gonna wish you all a blessed and fantastic night. See you Friday. Much love. DJ, get some rest, buddy. God bless you. I'm glad you're feeling better. Amy says, good night, DJ. Amanda says, good night, DJ. Don't eat too much. Step away from the nuggets. Angela says, look up levels, Rich. Amy says, the moon is made of cheese, and I'm standing by that. It could be. It might be. Angela says, over 65 and medical gets discounts. Nice. And DJ says, nuggets. Is that the little turtle on the Mario Brothers, or is that a German helmet? I can't tell what that is. Or is that a toadstool? But nuggets is in the middle. Amanda says, LOL. Right, DJ?
It's the siren light.
Oh, siren lights. Okay. Angela says, but the math isn't mathing. It never does. It's funny how that works. Everything sounds good on paper until you start thinking about it. And then you're like, wait a minute. So in 1969, we went right through the Van Allen radiation belts with no problem because we didn't know about them in 1969. We learned about them in 1982. And in 1984, they suggested that the Van Allen radiation belts would kill you if you went through them. And then, sometime, they launched a nuclear bomb and tried to blow a hole in it. That didn't work. It made it worse. So, there's no leaving the Earth without massive amounts of radiation. They didn't know that in 1969, though. So they went right through it with no problem in a ship made out of tin foil and curtain rods. It looked like a meth treehouse. Don't believe me? Go look up pictures of it on nasa.gov. The lunar lander. Go look at it. You tell me that you would sit in that in outer space. Amy says math needs to grow up and solve its own problems. Right on. Amanda says, right, Angela? And our smart TV should make its own internet. It's a smart TV, after all. Angela says, facts, Amanda. LOL, Amy. Amy says, light spectrum and noise spectrum, humans can only hear certain sounds. Right, but there's still sounds out there. Who's hearing them? Angela says, I love my time with all of you. I feel blessed to be here. Amy did this for me. I will always be grateful to Amy for bringing me here. I love you all. Well, I love you, Angela, and thank you for being here. And I love Amy, too. So between the two of you, I am doubly blessed. Amy says, maybe when we die, we will be able to taste and smell colors and see sounds. That's what I'm getting at. Something like it. Amy says, he has a wonderful mustache. Thank you. Thank you very much. Steve Dubbin says hi. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show. Debbie says, I can never work in a place with a silent alarm because I can hear that high-pitched sound every time the doors open. I have even told the clerks. So you have a silent alarm, don't you? Wow. I wish my ears worked that good. Amanda says, hi, Steve. Amy says, hi, Steve. Nice name. My late husband's name was Steve. Dennis says, if you need to feel, you will be able to. Same with everything else. After you die, I think maybe not the same, though. I think it's as good a question as any, and I think all of our answers pale in comparison with reality because none of us know until we get there. But I think it's worth thinking about because the one thing you have to think about is what is it like being outside of this body and still being here? Because this is all you've ever experienced that you're aware of is what's inside of this body. A good way to visualize that would be to go get in a float tank. You know, one of those things that has the salt in it and it's warm and you're the same density as the water, so you're floating right on top of it and it's dark and they seal it off. And after about 20 minutes of complete deprivation of any input, your mind starts to wander and you feel like you're no longer tethered to this body. I think that's a good way to visualize it. But who knows if that's right or not? The brain can only interpret what the eyes have seen. Amy says, coupons equals coupons. I got it. Took me a while, but I got it. Angela says, Amy, I haven't been on Facebook too much lately. I will go and look later, though. I'll take a pic of my sunflowers, and they are getting tall. Nice. DJ John says, lobsters, cheeky Jake. Nice. Lobsters. It's a good one. Dennis says, LOL, everyone has been sending crabs to each other. Nice. Amy says, frog. Kevin says, yep, I'm going to call it a night also. Good night, everybody. Kevin, God bless you, sir. Thank you for being here. Much love to you. Enjoy your weekend with that bonus. Amy says, good night, Kevin. Amanda says, good night, Kevin. Rich S says, peace. I think that's what that is. It might be a bag of rice. I don't know what that is. Or a diving jellyfish. Might be that. I don't know. Amanda says, I'm going to have to teach Jake what all the emojis are. It's much funnier to make me figure it out. Angela says, cigarette. What?
It's peace.
It's peace. I know. Cigarettes are going up $2 a pack in Indiana on July 1st. I'm going to buy some bags of Jolly Ranchers and eat a piece when I want to smoke. That's horrible. They just keep going up in price. Oh, I know what the peach is, and I know how to use it, baby. I have a very talented tongue. I speak many languages. Teach him what this one is. Right, Rich? Dennis says, no, don't do that, Amanda. It's more fun like this. I agree. Amanda says, LOL, right, Rich? He knows. I know what the cucumber is. Or whatever that is. Eggplant. Penis. Amanda says, LOL, Dennis. Debbie says, Amy, so are you saying heaven is an acid trip? It could be. For a little while until you get adjusted to it. I imagine it might be. Angela says, I've seen that stuff that was supposedly up there at the meteor site in Arizona. Right on. I didn't understand them, why that stuff was there, because that's where it was filmed, maybe. Right. I think it was filmed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, but whatever. Ted Klein said hi. Hello, Ted Klein. Amanda says, hi, Ted. Angela says, do you know anything about mud floods? Yes. Debbie says, peaches and eggplants are just peaches and eggplants, right? Unless you're feeling freaky, and then there's something else. Amy says, I just finished my time ticket. Right on. Time to get off and go to bed. Same here. Amanda says, LOL, Dennis. I'm pleading the fifth. Angela says, maybe I should grow my own tobacco. Is that legal? I don't know. We grow lots of it around here, but I think you have to cure tobacco. You can't just grow it and smoke it. There's another step. Now, I don't know what all that is, so I just assume buy it from the Indians that know how to do all that. Amanda says, magic fingers, I'm saying I know nothing. Please sub says hi. Hi, please sub, please sub. Please sub. Please sub. Amanda says, hi, please sub, please sub. Please sub. Hit that subscribe button. And I'm at the bottom of the chat. DJ says, pickle, pickle. Amen. I love each and every one of you. My coffee's empty and I'm tired and I'm at the bottom of the chat, so I'm going to bed. I love you all. Have a great night. God bless you. I'll see you on Friday. I've enjoyed tonight immensely. I hope you have too. Like, subscribe, share, support, join, feed Jake Super Chat, do all the little bells and whistles and buttons, and I'll see you Friday. Dennis says, that's a good idea, Angela. But you have to cure it from green to brown in tobacco barns. See, I knew there was something else you had to do to it. You can buy bags of tobacco for $12, though. A big bag. You can make a carton of cigarettes out of that bag. $12 a carton. Well, $13 a carton. Buy you a roller. I'll tell you the right one. It's made out of titanium, and it's the one that works the best. It costs $80. And then you buy your rolls or your tubes, and you buy your tobacco. The tubes cost $3. The tobacco costs $12. And you can get a little bag for $6, which is about 6 packs. And then you make your own cigarettes. I did that for years, and I'm about to start doing it again because prices are going up. And I've got the machine right over here, and it takes about 30 minutes to make a carton of cigarettes. Do that. Angela says, good night all. Amy says, there's this emoji. Dennis says, I picked it when I was 12 years old. I've been lucky enough not to have to ever pick tobacco or cotton, but I lived around it, so I know about it. Amy says, night, y'all. See you Friday night. Angela says, I forgot about that, and I used to do that too. There you go. That's the best way to do it that I've found. All right. God bless you all. Thank you for being here. I've enjoyed it. See you Friday. Thanks for watching.